So approximately 04, 50, 55, 56, somewhere in that area this morning, we got calls of shots fired in the area of 38th and Blondo. As officers were investigating that, a second call came in at 4:59 a.m. About an abduction that just occurred. Shortly after that call came in, it was determined that those two calls were related. Shots were fired during this abduction. The parties that were involved in that incident are known to each other, so we got a name right away of a potential suspect, and obviously we had the victim's name. Really what put this whole case together was very quickly officers that were directly involved and officers that heard the broadcast started doing research. They have computers in their cars. They started researching the name. They started researching relatives, and we immediately started checking addresses of where we thought the suspect might go. Even with that, one of the dispatchers also was doing some research on names and phone numbers of people that were associated with this incident, and that led us to an address. And when we got to that address, it was an apartment complex in the 6600 block of North 107th Plaza. We saw a car matching the description. The car was warm. We saw somebody in a window that looked out, and then they saw officers and ducked back in. So we thought we were probably in the right place. Once officers were in place, I made a phone call to one of the phone numbers that we had where I made contact. And then from that point on, we made contact with the victim and the suspect outside. They came out willingly, and the investigation is ongoing at this point.
Do you know what sparked it all?
I don't.
We heard unconfirmed reports that it was a woman and a child abducted?
That's still an unconfirmed report.
Okay.
But they're safe, though.
Everybody involved in the incident is in custody, and everyone is safe. No one was harmed throughout the entire incident, except obviously being fairly shaken up. Shots were fired for some reason during the incident. No one was shot. No one was injured. And at this point, everybody that has been involved is accounted for.
Could you shut that off before I ask the next question?
Did you, are you trying to determine if there was kind of what the hold-in was, trying to figure out?
It's like a submarine. There's like
if there was an actual abduction.
Well, I'm gonna as far as the definition of abduction, and I'm gonna leave that to the investigators to determine if all of the elements meet that criteria. I mean, it could be, they were known to each other. It could be everything from a domestic violence. There's going to have to be some details worked out to determine if it fits that criteria or not. So I'm going to let the detectives work that out.
And it started here in 170th military?
Yes, it started here. This was the original call that we got of an abduction. That's how it was interpreted when the call was called in, and it ended at 6600 block of North 107th Plaza, some apartment complex out that direction.
Do you know about when that ended? About the time?
Probably took me 25 minutes to get back here. I was probably there for 20 minutes. So I would say from the initial call, I would say probably no longer than 45 minutes. Maybe more like 30 minutes. I can't be positive. I'd have to go back and look at logs and see, but I think it was pretty good. There was a pretty fast dragnet out there of officers hunting and looking for. We had some vague description of a vehicle. It was just a silver four-door, so that makes it a little tougher. But we started hitting addresses as quick as we could that we could come up with that were related.
Can you talk about how well this all came together for you guys? This is probably one of the best outcomes that you can have in an abduction case.
Well, it is. It actually is. It's amazing that it turned out very good, very fast with everything that we had going on. We're working across 2 precincts and 2 radio channels. We have officers checking addresses, so it's just about delegating and getting people to do their part. And, like I said, probably one instrumental part of this whole thing was a dispatcher actually took some initiative and did their part, doing some research, and got us another address to look at, and that's where it fell together. The car showed up, and the people peeking out. Just a lot of things came together very quickly. So it's the best way it could end.